Well, most importantly, we got to take care of the baseball. I mean, defense is a foundation of what we've always done here, and we've been pretty solid at it. We need to continue to do that. On the mound, it's working on set times, our picks, and controlling the running game, and number one, throwing strikes. Last year at the start of the year, I think it's safe to say we didn't really have the strike thing figured out. We found the right pieces about halfway through the year. We feel like we have a good idea who's going to be able to fill it up for us. So those are going to be the foundations of what we do. And as hitters, just getting up to game speed, facing live pitching, getting as many reps as we can to be ready for the first weekend.
How nice is it to have all 3 weekend starters back?
Well, I'll tell you this, that last year our starting rotation didn't quite end up what it was, later on in the season. So a lot of things can happen. Injuries take place, just different things. We have some pieces that can move in and out of rotations. By no means is our rotation set. So we'll see how it plays out. But like my dad always told me, you can never have enough pitching. And, we have some depth there. We have some guys that are going to get opportunities, especially with 8 games in the first 2 weekends where we're going to need more than just a few arms. So it'll be a good time to get a good evaluation on those guys in a real setting.
They're knowing there's so much excitement and nervousness for the first days of practice. How much can you actually really get done?
Well, we've been going for 2.5 weeks here, so we've had a few team skill instruction type things, so they've kind of got a feel for how practice is going to be run. So I anticipate, there's excitement for the first full day. I get that, but it shouldn't be anything that they haven't seen. But it does move fast, and for them, the biggest thing now is it turns in, instead of 8 hours a week, it's 20 hours a week. So time management with recovery and sleep and practice and school just becomes that more important. So just a matter of understanding how you're going to go about your day is probably the biggest adjustment, especially for the new guys.
Health-wise, how are you guys heading into things right now?
We got a few guys a little dinged up. Engelken had surgery earlier this year. He's going to probably be out until middle of the season. McSteen was shut down in the fall with a little bit of soreness in his shoulder. He's on his way back. We anticipate having him right away, so that's good. Burkhamper has had a little bit of shoulder tightness, so he's going to have a little bit of a setback. Nothing serious, but probably won't be ready for opening weekend. Outside of that, I think we're in a pretty decent spot. But you know how that goes. You crank up the workload, the throwing. It's things come about, and we'll deal with them as they come.
How unique is Jake Meyer's role in what he plays in college baseball these days? I mean, you don't see that very often across the country. A guy that plays multiple positions like that.
It plays every day and can pitch for you as well. It takes a special person, with a special work ethic and mentality to be able to do that. For one, you have to be physically have the endurance to do that, and he puts the work into to be in position to do that, to take care of his arm, to be able to throw it from the outfield, and then also pitch on the weekend. And we throw him on Sundays just so we can give him the maximum amount of rest and recovery before having to throw again. That'll be the plan going forward this year as well.
What's the biggest improvement you think the team needs to see this year, especially to start off well in some tough games early on?
Well, it's for us, it's how quickly we get good. Our first weekend, we probably like 4-12 or 4-13 in our time here. We've made a good adjustment in the second weekend, third weekends, but that sense of urgency of paying attention to the details early on and being ready to play. I mean, we're going to be challenged, have some good challenges early on, and if we're not up to playing like we can, it's going to be tough. But just that sense of urgency overall, it's just being consistent, and we've done a good job of showing up for the most part. Now it's just as far as mentality wise, and now it's just that consistency. We just can't have any of those little games that you just flush down the toilet where we walk 18 guys in a game. We're going to play defensively well, throw strikes, and that'll give us an opportunity to win games. And now we got to get the big hits. That was something that was missing last year. We had many opportunities to drive runs in, and we just did not hit well with runners in scoring position. But one thing I know about that stat is those things tend to equal themselves out. So I'm looking for a lot of big hits this year.
How much of a strength do you think pitching is going to be?
I don't have a crystal ball, but on paper, we have some guys that look like they have the ability to throw strikes. Stuff-wise, we do have guys that have stuff that can get outs for us. We do have returners that have gotten big outs for us. So in that regard, it's nice to know some of that. We do have a couple young guys that have the ability to help us out as well. But like I said, the pitching thing is it's an interesting dynamic. Just when you think you have it figured out of what you're going to do and how everybody's going to fit into their spots, things get thrown at you. But one thing we are definitely going to do this year is we're going to maximize our best pitchers and utilize them as much as we can. There's not going to be any time where we're not using our best pitchers to their fullest potential.
How strange will it be to not see number 21 out there in center field?
I think we've been kind of spoiled by that guy rolling around out there for 3 years. Just covered an amazing amount of ground. Great work out of the fantastic kid, obviously a good ball player. Jake Myers will move over to center. He's not too bad himself either, but yeah, Ryan was a huge part of what we did. So we do have a couple holes to fill, but that's the fun of it. That's the beauty of seeing a team come together and mesh with different personalities and hearing those new voices. And we talked about the voices in the fall, and to hear those voices continually be strong and see who kind of steps up and takes control of the group and how they become a family together. It's one of the more fun things to do with the group.
During last year's finish, especially the Big Ten tournament and then regionals, how much did that affect the offseason for your team?
Well, it's for me, the postseason time, we were playing very, very well up to that point. And it's, everybody can pretty much pitch at that point, and who gets hot with the bat is going to probably advance. And we unfortunately went ice cold, and there you have it. Do we face some good pitching? Sure, but that's what you have to face to get there. So it was a good experience to go through it. Does it light a fire under our guys? Yeah, it's probably in there a little bit, but at the end of the day, we've got a whole new season. We got a lot of stuff to earn, and it's you do learn from it. You learn from some of the situations that maybe we need to tweak our approach a little bit, or how we're going to go about facing some of those quality pitchers, and we're just going to have to reset and get it going.
You talk about late last year, you mentioned it, you caught fire there in mid-May, and it was a stark contrast when the Big Ten tournament started, talking about your bats going cold. Is that just baseball? Is there something that you could point to, or you could go back and change if you could at that time? Like, can you point to anything that could explain why the offense went cold as it did?
Well, when you lose a guy that hit 325 with 16, that can probably not be an ideal situation. But again, everybody deals with that stuff. You have to be able to find your way through that. But Scott was obviously rather warm during our stretch, and that helped things quite a bit. And what it does is it takes the pressure off of a lot of other guys that they don't feel like they have to do too much. But that it doesn't matter. We had plenty of good enough hitters. We just didn't get it done. And from that standpoint, that's where that consistency has to get better, and that falls on my shoulders. I'm the hitting coach, and I run the offense, so I got to do a better job of that. And we've made some adjustments, and we'll go forward.
What did you learn about the newcomers, I guess, in the fall? I mean, you feel like there's guys that can, and obviously it's going to speed up a little bit in a couple weeks here, but do you have guys there that you think can help you right away?
Yeah, there's a couple guys. Alex Rayburn, he's been around it. He's done it in another pretty good conference. He's had a couple of injuries, but he's seen it. He's seen quality pitching. He's been through it. So from that standpoint, we expect him to come in and not have to deal with too much of that. Maybe a little bit excitement early on just because he didn't play last year. And then some of the younger guys they're going to get thrown into the fire, and they're going to have to learn how to handle the speed of it. But I do like, I think some of them, which ones it's going to be, I don't know. But I will say that I'm pleased with where they're at right now, and they've worked hard enough to give themselves an opportunity to have a chance.
Do you anticipate getting some of those guys some playing time early on?
Yeah, it will be, how that works out, I don't know exactly. But yes, with 8 games, double headers, there's guys that, aren't going to, like, Jesse Wilkie's not going to catch every game, so we're going to get some other guys in there. We're gonna just have to match it up. Alvarado's going to pitch a little bit, so somebody's going to be in the outfield. Schreiber will probably DH a day, so another person will get in the outfield. Myers is going to pitch. Somebody's going to get in the outfield. On the left side of the infield, we'll have different combinations of guys and try and get them as much playing time as we can in those first 2 weeks. With the idea of that third weekend we go to Frisco, we got a pretty good idea of what we're gonna have and where everybody's going to kind of fit in the whole rotation of things on the mound and in the field.
How did Alvarado look on the mound?
Did you have a chance?
Yeah.
No, you had a chance.
I mean, was that something you knew he could do, or was it kind of a, hey, get in there and let's see?
Coach Silva's been begging for 2 years to, get him on the mound, and now it's, he wants to do it, and it's, again, he hasn't pitched for a few years, but he has stuff, and it's not bad. So it's going to be exciting to see what comes out of that hand.
Anything else, guys? Okay.
Thanks, Darin.
Good.
Thanks,
All right.